video presenting the most important aspect of four holidays in Mexico. The first one is the Independence Day. When is it celebrated? Mexican Independence Day is celebrated on September 16th of each year. The purpose of this day is commemorates that event from more than 2000 years ago that occurred in Dolores, where Miguel Hidalgo shot and caused a rebellion accompanied by many battles for the freedom of the nation. The typical food in this celebration is, traditionally on this day, Mexicans usually eat typical dishes of our culture, such as tamales, mole, and other beef, pork, and chicken stews. The typical music, canonically speaking, is the zarzuelas and tonadillas, and a few skits, but currently a large repertoire of regional Mexican music is heard, which makes allegory to this important event and freedom. The typical clothing can we view in this day is the dress as a rancher, or if you want to be more successful, you choose to wear guayaberas and cloth pants. Boots and buckle belts are very common on these dates. Women wear their colorful dresses and their braids. Other typical activities on this date, it is common to see establishments covered with decorations alluding to the festivity. There is also a lot of music and dancing in the streets, especially in the front of the municipal presidency, and the night closes with a lot of fireworks. The second celebration is the Day of the Virgin of Guadalupe, when it is celebrated every December 12th. The purpose is the commemoration of the appearance of the most important religious reference in the country, that December 12th of 1531, the Virgin of Guadalupe would appear in front of Juan Diego. The typical food on this day is a mixture of modern and classical times, sweet bread and coffee, tea or atole, orange and a lot of water, cakes, tamales, tacos al pastor, gorditas de nata, sweets, cigars, and chilaquiles are usually consumed. The typical music on this day is quite specific, since they are songs for the Virgin of Guadalupe and even prayers. The typical clothing is quite simple. Uh, Again, the woman wear a blanket dress, and the men very similar to how Juan Diego wore in honor of the first person who saw Our Lady of Guadalupe. The activities in this day is customary among Mexicans to sing las mañanitas at the first minute of December 12th, at what is known as Morenita del Tepeyac, the place where the Virgin Mary appeared to Juan Diego on several occasions. In addition, is a typical dance, such as the cheerful dance of the matachines are performed. The third celebration is Christmas. Christmas is a celebration that begins previously during what is known as Christmas Eve, which is in the night of December 24. Once past 00, Christmas really begins on the 25th. The purpose is, is a Christian holiday that celebrates the birth of Jesus of Nazareth in Belém, who, according to the religious tradition, was the Son of God, a Messiah whose purpose was to save humanity. In fact, the word Christmas comes from the Latin word navitas, which means birth. The typical food at Christmas there is no specific dish, but it is normal to see a lot of red meat on the table during the celebration: chicken, pork, and beef. Traditional dishes such as tamales and pozole are also consumed. The music at Christmas is summed up as Christmas carols. The repertoire is not so extensive, and it depends a lot on how one carries out the celebration that day. In a matter of clothing, people usually brand new, and it's very common to see colors like gold, red, white, black, and green. And of course, it's usually winter clothing. At Christmas, the activities are very dynamic. They usually decorate the pine tree or their home, sing Christmas carols, visit relatives, eat and drink, and without leaving the most remarkable thing, giving gifts. And the last celebration is the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead is celebrated on November 1 and 2. It's a festivity of pre-Hispanic origin, in which the people celebrate and honor their deceased relatives by placing altars or offerings on their graves, or their homes, depending on the region of the country in which they are located. The typical dishes of this celebration are mole, tamales with different fillings, pumpkin jam, atole, and pozole, which can be placed in offerings for the deceased and their companions. The music is varied on this day. It can be music that the deceased like or something more traditional such as minuets, that it's a purely instrumental composition, with bars ranging for sonatas to symphonies. The clothing for the celebration is also very varied, with the particularity that it's common to see faces painted as skulls, but usually elegant suits and dresses are seen. Has been mentioned previously, the common activities of the date are usually the decoration of the tombs and altars of deceased relatives, as well as the placement of a lot of cempasúchil and food. Also, the prayers and candles adorn the cemeteries, and more than a sad day, it is a day to remember.